The objective of this video is to talk about how to use AI to build our knowledge in a very constructive way. But before talking about this, let me just start by drawing an analogy with the traditional calculator. So all of us know this tool. All of us know that it's composed of different components, like this is the input or numbers that we can actually ask the tool to calculate using operations that all of us know to obtain some answers. Now, if you give this tool to kids who doesn't know what does mean those numbers, who doesn't know what does mean those operations, so most probably kids will consider this a tool as a toy, and then they will just play with or throw it out. On the other side, if you give it to a kid who started to go to school, who does know what does mean those numbers and what does mean those operations, so most probably he will see some value in this tool and then start using it in a very efficient way to help him understand better, improve his knowledge. Now, if you want to consider AI as a calculator of knowledge, there are few changes, however, few modifications we need to do, which are actually basically here the inputs are not really the numbers, but are questions. On the other side, the operation are not the traditional one that we know, but basically those are internal operations very specific to AI that are applied on our questions to allow us to have some answers. And now if you compare now this AI tool as a calculator with the traditional calculator, you will see also here we have another problem, that the answers we obtain basically are not perfect answers. So it means that actually there will be some operation that outside this tool that should help this tool to give some specific answers, correct answers, and should be actually this operation, this external operation or process should be completely managed by us in a way that allow us to build our knowledge. Then actually how? Well, basically we always start with some questions, general question, and then whenever we obtain an answer, we need to do our best actually to understand those answers, to check them, and then to think about them, and then actually come up with other questions. Now, while we're doing this process, we need actually to keep doing this all the time. But while we're doing this process, we need to know that there is no bad question. There is no bad question. There is only bad answer. And this is what Carl Sagan expressed in his book, saying there are naive questions, tedious questions, but actually every question we ask, it will make us better and the world better and will help us to improve our knowledge. So basically, we have today the advantage of having a tool that allow us to ask any kind of questions until we understand, and this is basically what we need to do. So we need to run into long loop of understanding, checking, thinking, asking more questions until basically we obtain specific answers. And then when we obtain specific answers, it means now we have a deep knowledge. And this deep knowledge can allow us to explain anything to anyone, not necessarily from technical point of view. It could be from abstract point of view, as Einstein said. If something we don't understand, we will not be able to explain it. But if in very abstract way, but if something we understand, we will be able to explain it even to 6-year-old kid. So let me apply this by giving one example. Now, I'm teaching ethical hacking course in my university, at Zayed University. And of course, this is what I'm asking my students all the time to do, is to try to interact, to work with the AI, to consider it as an imperfect calculator, but use it to help them build knowledge, better knowledge than they have today. So to illustrate this, I'm going to talk about an example that I'm using and applying in ethical hacking course. But in order to understand this example that I will show now, how I was able to interact with the AI in a very constructive way, the one who will follow this example, he need to have a knowledge, what does mean a Docker engine, what does mean FTP server. He should have, or she should have a knowledge about OS security, basic knowledge. But let's imagine, what if we don't have this knowledge? Well, basically we can start with those questions, apply whatever method I explained before, and then start and then go back and follow again this video. This will help you to understand in more details the examples that I'm giving. So let me first illustrate this example. So first, I use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT because basically here I wanted to create some vulnerable image on which my students need to work on in order to enumerate and then attack later in the ethical hacking course. So in the course we are using Docker engine, and then I ask it, AI, can you create a Docker file which has an FTP server on Ubuntu image base. The FTP server allow the user to authenticate using some username and some password. Okay, wonderful. And here is the answer of ChatGPT. Now, of course, now I'm applying this video according to my own curiosity, which is different from any other person. So everyone has a different knowledge, everyone has different curiosity. So let's imagine I have this file, and of course there are some parameters I understand, and there are some parameters I don't understand. So what I asked it then, actually, now I know that I need to take this file, create and then the Docker image, and then run it in some way, and then actually do the activity. Well, I can stop here, no problem. But basically this is not good because there are different small configurations I don't have full understanding to them. And as I explained, we need all the time to do our best to understand completely the answers given by the AI before actually we move to the next step. Yeah, so basically here I started to ask some follow-up questions. And then actually I started here by asking general question. Okay, explain everything to me, the configuration of this FTP server. And now the AI tool was good. Remember, there is no bad questions, there is only bad answers. So I started, and then the tool was explaining to me something. Now, here I started to read. Now, if I follow this loop correctly, the loop of knowledge building correctly, I should read it correctly, I should understand everything returned by the tool, and then I should check it. Now, how can I check it in this context? Well, in this context, I can check it simply by trying to apply and build the image and then check, does this configuration are doing what is the AI claiming about? By changing the value, checking them, etc., etc. Okay, let's imagine I did this. But here, actually, there is something additional that, attracted my attention, which was actually that I have different accounts of FTP server, but all of them, they are connected to the same directory. Then actually here, my curiosity pushed me to ask this question. Well, is it normal to send every FTP user to the same directory? And then I started to talk with the AI. And here actually the AI, okay, so it give me information saying, okay, sometimes we need this and sometimes we need that, which means actually sometimes we provide separate directory, but sometimes we send every user to the same directory. Okay, let's imagine here again, I check it okay, it's work. I thought about it. Everything's good. So now this is something added to my new knowledge as a person who was not aware of this before. Okay, but there is now another information that has attracted my attention, which is, if you see here, there is like kind of empty directory, which was defined for the FTP server. Okay, so this is something I don't know that much about it. What should I do? I should ask the AI tool, why this empty folder? And then here, the tool started to give me different answers. And then it mentioned the idea of jail or change root jail. Now, personally, I know what that does mean, but when I read it, I'm not convinced actually with the answer of the AI. So the tool is saying, okay, because this FTP server is jailed, then actually we need this folder, more or less. But still, for me, something not clear. Then actually here I understood, I'm checking, okay, it exists in fact, and we need it, but now I'm thinking, and I started to ask many questions, many additional questions that you see here. To understand, again, there is something not clear to me. And then here I ask it, okay, can you be more specific, give me more concrete examples? And then the tool, okay, started to give me some examples. And again here, I'm reading, I'm still not able to completely understand for which purpose this empty folder. Then again, I insist, okay, change my question. And then even asking the tool, give me source code of FS of the FTP server. Here, usually also I need to read and check whether this is really the real code of FTP server that might be existing because it's open source. But let's imagine I'm checking, but I'm still not able to understand what is the purpose of empty server. I continue. Here actually the answer mentioned something related that this is the tool is launched with root privilege, etc. Okay, then actually I come up with another question talking about actually how this tool is jailed, but at the same time is able to access some sensitive files like passwd, because the tool need to access passwd in order to be able to do the authentication, because remember the user account are stored in the passwd file. So how come when you are saying this is jailrooted and then same time it's accessing some sensitive files like passwd? And then here tool make it clear to me, oh, okay, there is something called startup. When starting up actually the tool, the server, then actually the server has some privilege. It was like root, and then after, before the authentication, the process has actually dropped some capabilities or administrative privileges, which mean it's not anymore privileged. But also the tool put in the memory the sensitive files that it would need during its own operation. Okay, so now I have better understanding what's going on. And then actually I made this drawing based on this interaction that I had with the tool. And of course, after having checked all those information using different methods, I say, okay, so the the FTP server started at the root. Its root directory was the normal root of the operating system. It has loaded to the memory those information, and then it has dropped some capabilities, but still it's able to basically still able to access those sensitive files in the memory. And then when a user logged in, then actually now this process is not anymore root process, but also the root directory has changed. And now from the viewpoint of this user will stay always inside this directory. It will never be able to go outside this directory, and this is what we call jailed root. Okay, so now I have this understanding, but still I didn't have an answer to my question: what is the purpose of the empty directory? So I continue, and here I'm asking more questions about change root shell to see the codes, the C code, how it works. There is an API, etc. So just something additional I'm asking, but still here I'm asking how can I see the jailed root directory of every process. I'm asking additional questions which will not even answer my first question, but it make me to analyze and think better. So here the tool is telling me, yeah, you go there and you read this file, etc., blah blah blah, and then most probably I will do it, and then I will understand that every process can have its own root, which is different from the root of the operating system. Wonderful, but still I'm not able to basically to obtain an answer. And then here suddenly the tool stopped to work. Then actually I decided to go and use another tool, so which is the Bard AI tool of Google. Okay, now to give it more context, so I started by asking general question to the tool, saying, okay, does the FTP server is jailed root? And here the tool give me something new to me, which was not like discussed in the previous tool, which is saying, okay, no, by default it's not jailed rooted, but sometimes yes if you want. Okay, so now I know, now I have something new in my knowledge. So default behavior of all FTP server, it's not by default jailed rooted. Okay, wonderful. Now I go back and then ask about my question. And then here I'm asking about, okay, what is about these files? They are in the memory. So I'm giving more context to the new tool. Okay, and then now I give it like a better question, explain step by step what happened when the FTP server with root privilege started out with root privilege until the user is authenticating its own his own credential. Explain how the process loads this file and this file and this file, and how to treat the library, and consider that it is actually jailed, this process. Wonderful. So look here, the tool started to explain to me step by step what happened, starting from the startup to the user authentication to actually when we change the root of the process. And here we are, it's mentioning something about the empty folder that I want to understand, and what it's saying it's used for change routing when the user doesn't have a home directory. And now I have a clear, specific answer. So as you see, basically what I did is I did a lot of interaction with the AI tool. I asked many naive questions, many tedious questions. I spent a lot of time interacting with this tool, understanding its answers, checking, thinking, etc. But at the end of the day, what I did, I obtained a specific answer to my question. Now, of course, I could have, for example, go and check the documentation of FTP. Yes, it's possible, and this is another solution. But now this is not my objective. My objective is to explain how to use AI correctly, because not all answers are written clearly and in very specific way in different textbook or in different documentations. So I hope this video will really be very helpful for you, and I hope that you will always follow this pattern while you are using the AI calculator to build better knowledge than you have today. Thank you.